Hey guys, what's going on? It's Nutsack MMA back at it again with my channel, and today we're gonna be making a video on the top 10 strikers in the UFC currently. Alright, let's get into it. So starting off with honorable mentions, here we got Jan Blachowicz. He's not here because he's an amazing striker, but he's a little inactive and older than he was in his prime. Justin Gaethje, not the most technical guy and just got knocked out. Brandon Moreno had a bad performance against Royval. Yuri Prohaska just got dick fucked. And Corey Sandhagen, I mean, like, he could be here, but I just think the rest of the guys here on this list are better. So let's get into the actual list. So coming in at number 15, we got MVP Michael Venom Page. Now, I would have him higher, but his resume isn't all that. I need him to get a little bit more wins if he wants to move up the list. I don't think anyone currently in welterweight outstrikes him besides maybe Wonderboy Thompson. But right now his only win is Kevin Holland, and he lost to Ian Gary. But Ian Gary only beat him because he grappled. MVP is probably the worst grappler, one of the worst I've ever seen in the UFC. But his striking makes up for it. He was beating up Ian Gary on the feet. Ian Gary had to shoot a takedown in order to win that fight. So that's very impressive from MVP, which is why he's number 15. Number 14, I got Dricus. I think Dricus is a really underrated striker, especially when we saw him beat Sean Strickland, and it was outstriking him in the third round and the fourth round. He has really good kicks, really good body kicks. He has great power and amazing reach. He's knocked out Rob Whittaker. Last person to do that was Adesanya, who's also going to be on this list. Super impressive. Darren Till was beating him a little bit, but that's still a good win for him. But he's only number 14 just because he lacks a little bit of good wins, but he hasn't lost to anybody so far. And I'm not sure who I'm picking him to beat Izzy yet, but that's going to be a video in the future. So at number 13, I got Sean Strickland. Best wins, he beat the hell out of Izzy. Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa fight was a little bit boring, which is why I have him here. He has lost a bit. These last three fights, the Zaleski dos Santos, Kamaru Usman, and Ponzinibbio fights, were when he was in his beginning of his career in welterweight. This was before he moved up to middleweight and before he hit his prime. So I'm not looking at these too hard, but I am looking at these other losses. Jared Cannonier, that fight was controversial, but I do think Jared Cannonier did win this fight. Got swept by Alex Pereira, and he beat Dricus, and Dricus did beat him, but I think that Sean outstruck him. Dricus won because of the grappling, but he has a bunch of good wins. He knocked out Brendan Allen, who's really good right now. He's coming up. Uriah Hall was a really good striker at the time. Outstruck Jack Hermanson, Imavov, who's doing really good right now. He just beat Cannonier, even though that was a little bit of an early stoppage. But yeah, Paulo Costa, boring performance, but main reason he's up here is because he outstruck Izzy and made it look easy, and he also has some of the best striking defense in the UFC, but it's just a little not impressive for me. Oh, my bad. It's just not that impressive for me because his striking style is so basic. I mean, that should make him higher if anything, actually, so that's my bad. But yeah, so we're gonna move on to the next guy. At number 12, we got Yancy Rodriguez. So Yancy Rodriguez is an interesting one because he has a lot of controversial losses to Brian Ortega after Brian Ortega took like a 3-year layoff. Frankie Edgar, that was random. But to be fair, if you beat Yancy Rodriguez, you just have to grapple with him because it's impossible to outstrike him on the feet alone. The only way you can outstrike him is if you're Max Holloway, but Max Holloway even needed to shoot takedowns to beat Yair. Same with Volk. Volk shot a takedown round 1, mixing the grappling. But if you're on the feet with the Yair, he's always gonna beat you, bro. This dude has some of the nastiest kickboxing in the UFC. Like, this dude shoots head kicks like they're jabs. That's just insane to me. He did beat Ortega too. Pieced up Josh Emmett. Has good ass wins, and he was the only man who kept it competitive on the feet with Max Holloway, besides Volkanovski, obviously. But yeah, just super impressive kickboxing to me. Not the best fight IQ though, so he's gonna be at number 12. We're gonna move on. Shit. Alright, so coming in at number 11, we got Rob Whittaker. Now, originally I was gonna have Dricus ahead of Rob Whittaker, same with Strickland and Yair. But then I was doing research for this video, and that resume is just super beautiful, bro. Look at all those good wins. Yoel Romero twice, Jared Cannonier, Darren Till, Paulo Costa, Uriah Hall, Jacare Souza, Derek Brunson, Marvin Vittori, Kelvin Gastelum, and Ikram Aliskerov. He just knocked out. He only has a couple losses. Izzy in the first fight, Izzy in the second fight. The Izzy's fight was controversial, so I put the star there. And you could argue that Rob Whittaker won that fight. It was pretty close. Besides the first round, he got dropped, but the rest of the fight, it was pretty close. Did lose to Dricus, but Dricus did grapple a little bit before he knocked him out. But he did knock him out, so I wouldn't say this out grappling win. Stephen Thompson's going to be higher on this list, so that's not too bad. And then Court McGee, I don't know what the fuck that was all about, but I mean, I'm not gonna look at it too hard. I don't know what the hell it's all about. So, but anyways, Rob Whittaker is just nasty. Great karate. Love this dude. One of my favorite fighters. Moving on. Number 10, we got Peter Yan. Peter Yan is one of the most technical boxers and has some of the slickest striking in the UFC. The only reason he's so low, I wouldn't say he's low actually, but the only reason he's not higher, I would say, is just because he's not really in his prime anymore. He's getting older, and he did just get off a 3-fight losing streak, but he does have really amazing wins. Jose Aldo outstruck him, which is pretty crazy. Like, Corey Sandhagen, amazing win as well. Aljo, I know that was a DQ, but I do count the first Aljo win as a win for him. But Sanya Dong, Uriah Faber, John Dodson, those are all really good wins, and he's just a really good and he's just a really good boxer, dude. Great body kicks, and he's just an amazing fighter, to be honest. Great, like, technically. Those losses, Aljo and Merab outgrappled him, and Sean O'Malley, he arguably won that fight. I don't think he did. I think Sean O'Malley won the first and the third, and I think Sean O'Malley outstruck him, but Sean O'Malley's also going to be higher on this list, so that's not even that bad of a thing, to be honest, for me. So, but anyway, Peter Yan is number 10. Let's move on to number 9. Alright, number 9, we got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Normally he would be higher, but he's a little older, a little more inactive, so he's at number 9 for now. But if we look at his wins, great wins. Jeff Neal embarrassed him. Kevin Holland embarrassed him. Jorge Masvidal embarrassed him. Vicente Luque embarrassed him. Knocked out Rob Whittaker. Johnny Hendricks. Rory McDonald. Whenever Stephen Thompson's on the feet, he just pieces up everybody. He's rarely ever outstruck. The only time he's ever been outstruck was by Darren Till and Anthony Pettis, as you can see by these losses right here. But the Darren Till fight was kind of a bad fight for both those guys, so like, it's not that crazy. And Darren Till is also a really good striker. And the Anthony Pettis one, it was just like a weird one-off situation in my opinion. And I think Stephen Thompson was outstriking Pettis before that weird KO. And besides that, all his other losses are by guys out-grappling. Shavkat submitted him. Gilbert Burns grappled Bilal, Tyron Woodley. But yeah, he was even outstriking Tyron Woodley in the fights before the grappling exchanges. So yeah, Stephen Thompson's gonna be right here, and he's still great at this old age, so he's great. Moving on to number 8. Alright, moving on to number 8, we got Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Obviously, he's gonna be here. He's amazing boxer, one of the best strikers in the division's history, maybe even the best wins. We got Conor McGregor twice. Conor McGregor wasn't that good when he fought him, but that's still a great win to have. Max Holloway, though, that second Max Holloway fight's really underrated. Justin Gaethje did beat Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez, Dan Hooker, Michael Chandler, BSD, Bobby Green. Those are all great wins. His only losses are to Justin Gaethje, who head kick knocked him out, which was pretty weird, but whatever. Conor McGregor, and then that one really weird loss against Michael Johnson. But we all know Michael Johnson just has like that weird ability to knock like a contender out every once in a while. It's just insane. I don't understand how he does it, but yeah, so we got knocked out by Michael Johnson. But besides that, only losses are to TKZ, Cub Swanson, Oliveira, and Makhachev, and Khabib. And he got out grappled by all of those guys, to be honest. So it's still a great striking resume, in my opinion, and that's why he's number 8. However, he did just recently get outstruck by one guy, though, and that guy is Islam Makhachev. And Islam Makhachev is number 7 for me. Islam Makhachev is a super underrated striking defense. I think he is one of the most, like, statistically one of the hardest fighters to hit before he fought Volkanovski the first time. But the Volkanovski fight the first time was very close, but Makhachev honestly was doing really good in the striking against Volk, which is super impressive. And he even knocked Volk out in the second fight. I understand that it was on short notice, but knocking out Volk like that is still super impressive. And at the end of the day, it's still Volkanovski. Beat Charles, great win. Beat Dustin, great win. Outstruck both of those guys, by the way. I didn't put any of his other wins because most of the guys he beat by grappling, but these are like his really good striking wins, and he has 4 all-time striking wins. Charles, really good striker. Dustin, really good striker. Volk 1 and 2 outstruck him both times, in my opinion, besides a couple rounds. So that's just super good. He has that one loss to Martins, but that was kind of a weird one-off fluke, in my opinion. So I'm not looking too deep into it. He's number 7. So let's go on to the next person. Coming in number 6, we got Izzy. So Izzy's obviously dominant middleweight champion, great wins, great kickboxer. Beat Alex Pereira, which was a crazy win. Robert Whittaker Robert Whittaker in the first fight, which he KO'd him. Only other person to KO Rob Whittaker would be Dricus. Fucking shit on Paulo Costa. He had boring performances against Cannonier and Vittori, but he still beat them pretty convincingly. Robert Whittaker 2 fight was a little controversial. He could argue he outstruck him, though. And same with Torrio Romero. And he did beat Derek Brunson, who was okay. And the only reason I don't have many higher is because he has been outstruck before by Alex Pereira. The first time, Sean Strickland and Jan Blachowicz. So, but besides that, he has a pretty good striking resume, and I think he's a really good kickboxer, and I think he's number 6. So let's move on to the top 5. Alright, coming to number 5, we got Alexander Volkanovski. The reason he wouldn't be higher, normally I'd have him like top 3. The only reason I don't have him top 3 right now is because, well, he just got knocked out twice in a row, and I just think that you lose a little bit of that skill by getting knocked out, unfortunately. So, but that's why I saw him top 5, because I do think he outstrikes a lot of people, but there's just a certain people that he can't outstrike, and that's shown right here by his losses: Ilya Topuria and Islam Makhachev. But he has great wins: Max Holloway 3 times, Jose Aldo. That's 4 total wins against fighters who are top 10 all time, which is crazy. Yancy Rodriguez, he knocked out Rodriguez. Max Holloway had to take him down too. TKZ, one of the most one-sided beatdowns in championship UFC history. Brian Ortega beat Ryan Ortega's ass on the feet and beat his ass on the ground too. And Chad Mendes was a pretty good win as well. Lost to Ilya, but to be fair, I do think Alex was outstriking Ilya up until he got KO'd, because Ilya just has more power. But Volk did get outstruck by Islam in both fights. So I just think he's number 5, and we're gonna move on next. Coming in number 4, we got Yancy Poirier. Best wins. Alexander Volkanovski just knocked him out. And to be honest, Ilya just has some of the most crisp boxing combinations I've seen. Shown that against Jai Herbert, Ryan Hall, Josh Emmett. He was beating the hell out of Josh Emmett. I mean, like, okay, Yancy Rodriguez beat Josh Emmett too, but Yancy Rodriguez made it look dirty. Ilya made Josh Emmett look like fucking light work. Same with the Bryce Mitchell. And he just has some of the most slick boxing combinations, in my opinion. I do think people underrate his ability, and I do think he has a pretty good chance of beating Max Holloway. But as you can see, I have Max Holloway one spot ahead of him, just because of the resume. To be honest, Jose Aldo twice knocked him out both times. That's just insane. Justin Gaethje, Brian Ortega, Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen, TKZ, Yancy Rodriguez, Anthony Pettis, Frankie Edgar, and he beat all these people on the feet. Calvin Kattar and Brian Ortega, some of the most dominant striking performances in UFC history, which is crazy. And I think right now he's a better striker than Volk. I think Volk's getting a little older. But honestly, to be honest, you could switch Volkanovski to Poirier and Max Holloway in any order. They're all interchangeable between their spots, in my opinion. But yeah, only losses to Max Volk 3 times, obviously, which is good. Dustin twice, but to be honest, I feel like people overrate Dustin win a little bit, because I mean, not overrate Dustin's win, but give Max a little too harsh for the Dustin Poirier loss the second time, because Max was moving up a weight class on like 2 weeks notice, and he still took 2 rounds off of Dustin, one of the best boxers in the UFC, which is super impressive. Dennis Bermudez had that weird fight, but whatever. He was really young. Same with Dustin Poirier 1 and Conor McGregor. But as of right now, Max outstrikes probably everyone in the UFC. I'd pick him to beat to Poirier. That's why I'm going to be picking him, but I think it's going to be closer than people think. And I think Volkanovski would still beat Max, but I think Max dominates people in the striking better than Volk beats him. Volk dominates them, but I think Max dominates people better than Volk does. And I'm sorry about that noise in the background, as it's 4th of July, the fireworks. But anyway, moving on to the next person, we got Sean O'Malley. Best wins. Marlon Vera 2, beat the fuck out of him on the feet. Crazy high output. Was just having his way with him. Anyone would have been knocked out after that. Marlon Vera has the best chin in bantamweight history, so not him. But if that was Merab, he'd be sleeping. Corey Sandhagen, he'd be sleeping. And I would pick Sean O'Malley to beat Corey Sandhagen, and I would pick him to beat Merab. And he has a knockout win over Aljamain Sterling, which is still super impressive. And he outstruck Peter Yan, in my opinion. Now, I do understand that he arguably lost the Peter Yan fight, but people argue that Peter Yan beat him because of the grappling. However, Sean O'Malley clearly, even if you don't think he won, he definitely outstruck Peter Yan, which is still super impressive, because Peter Yan is one of the slickest strikers. Amazing. And Sean O'Malley honestly just looks insane on the feet. It's one of the slickest, smoothest strikers I've ever seen. His kicks, his punches, everything just looks so smooth, and he has great power as well. He can put you to sleep, like, super accurate. He's just an insane striker. Now, he does have that one loss against Marlon Vera the first time, but I do think it was a fluke because he got injured. But he proved that it was a fluke because he just beat Marlon's ass the second time. So I think that I think Sean O'Malley outstrikes anyone in his division and divisions close to his. So anyway, moving on to number 1, we got Alex Pereira. I don't think this should be a debate. Knocked out Izzy the first time, knocked out Yuri the second time and the first time, knocked out Jamal Hill, knocked out Sean Strickland, and beat Jan Blachowicz. The only reason that fight was close was because Yan out-grappled him, but he was out-striking Yan pretty clearly in my opinion. His only loss is to Izzy in the second time, but I don't think that Izzy like pieced him up with the. Oh, he did get him a great combination, but I do think Izzy was like, how do I explain this? Alex was beating Izzy, and then but Alex made a mistake, and Izzy caught him when he made a mistake with the one big punch. I don't think he was outpointing him in that fight. You could argue that he was outpointing him in the first fight, but I do think that on the feet it was closer than people think. I think that Adesanya was winning the fight, yes, because of the grappling. But Alex Pereira on the feet with only like three or four fights of UFC experience was doing really well against Adesanya, who had been a great striker up until then. I mean, he still is, but I do think that the striking was closer than a lot of people think in the first fight, and he ended up knocking him out, so it was. And in the second fight, I just think Izzy hit him with the perfect shot. I don't think that has anything to do with Alex's striking, just his chin. If anything, it has something to do with his striking defense, but I do think he's improved. In my opinion, I think Izzy beats him at middleweight, and Alex beats Izzy at light heavyweight. They're just not supposed to be in the same weight class, so I don't think we'll see that fight again. But if we do, we'll probably see that light heavyweight, and if we do see that light heavyweight, I'll pick Alex to beat him. But besides that, I've knocked out every person he's ever fought, besides, Blachowicz. And that one win against Bruno Silva back in the day. But best leg kicker, that left hook's fucking nasty. Great kicks, great punches. Rarely ever been outstruck besides Izzy in the second fight, but that's because he caught him with one shot. Jamal Hill, Yuri Prochazka twice, Sean Strickland. Like, he's beaten 5 former UFC champions, and one of them he's beaten twice. That's just so impressive. So, yep, that's my top 15 strikers list. I'll see you guys in the next video.